What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Zatima. This is season 2, episode 6, and let's get right into it. So, we actually start this episode off with Fatima, Angela, and this new guy, Sean, that we've been introduced to, because they're in the car, and he's trying to figure out who he's going to drop out first. Fatima says that he needs to drop off Angela first because she does not trust Angela along with this man, aka she knows that Angela will hook up with Sean, and that's going to be that. But Fatima is trying to prevent that because, again, we don't know Sean like that. So it's time for Angela to get out this car, y'all. First thing first, Angela is full out flirting with this man, right? And Fatima is like, Angela, get out the car. We don't have time for this, whatever. So Angela slides her body out of this car, talking about so she's flexible. And then she has the audacity to finally walk around the car and get to her house. Baby, once she got in, she fell and hit the floor. I actually laughed on that scene because I have never been that drunk, but I think that's hilarious. I really do. And it kind of reminded me of on House Party, the first one, when they had to drop that one drunk fool off and they just left him in the doorway, and when the family opened up the door, he fell out on the floor. For some reason, that's where my mind went straight back to. So at first, Fatima didn't want to get a ride, but she's like, you know what, just take me around the corner. So here's the thing. Why did we go back to Deja's house and baby girl is now wrapped in a towel? Now, I'm questioning, Zach, did you help her get out the tub? Because with all that screaming and hollering that she was doing about her body is aching, did you have to help her with that? I'm curious. Now, secondly, they're sitting on the couch or whatever, and he's basically telling her how, no matter what he rocking with Fatima, it doesn't matter if she tries to tell him or send him pictures about Fatima, he's rocking with Fatima because she was with him when he didn't have money. Now, according to Deja, she feels like Fatima is only there because he has money, which is interesting because she's the main gold digger on this show. So she ends up telling him, well, you should try to tell her that you went broke to see if she still stays around for you. And I'm just like, why are we even having this conversation with Deja? Because none of that was the issue with Fatima at all. So I will say, I laughed when they came up with the whole Deja, D, and Dollars. I fell out laughing because that's exactly who she is. Dollars and D, Deja. That's her right there. Alright, now as they continue to go with that conversation and her whining about how her back was hurting or her neck was hurting and how he needs to give her the D, blah, 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 I started to zone out. But it did get a little interesting to me when I saw that Fatima finally got home and Zach was leaving old girl house. Again, they did not say a word to each other, which is definitely not something that these two characters usually do. So that was pretty strange. Now, when we actually got into the house, these two are ready for bed. And when Fatima walked out with that muumuu and bonnet on, I cracked up laughing because I automatically knew that that is what the mom packed up in that care package. Alright, so we finally get some real conversation with these two. First off, she's basically telling him he can go ahead and go back next door to get whatever that he needs because he won't be getting it from her, referring to the fact that he's probably sleeping with Deja. Now, according to him, of course, and we know, he ain't hooked up with Deja. He's like, you wouldn't even be acting like this if you really thought that I was messing around with Deja. You probably shoot this whole place up. And she's like, no, you don't know me that well. So then we have this conversation about how he acted when it came to Paul, or how Paul was just a nice guy that was trying to help her. And Zach is like, don't even bring him up. Again, I don't know what it is about Zach and his complex of whenever he feels like a man is better than who he is, it's like he doesn't know how to handle it. Like, he's quite intimidated, but his way of being intimidated is to decide, oh, well, I'm going to be the big man on campus. I want to try to throw my weight around. And like Fatima said, stop trying to be the tough guy. And he's like, I am the tough guy. Zach, go to bed, please. Because you're not. You're not even the guy that you try to make yourself out to be. Because if you really want to be for real, Zach is a fake, a phony, and a fraud. And literally, I mean that. He got that money fraudulently. He's fake because he's pretending as if he's really in real estate and he's not. And I feel like he's phony because at the end of the day, he be moving real questionable. Real questionable. So again, we have repetitive dialogue of, there's no way you think that I'm sleeping with the next door neighbor or whatever. Now, Fatima says that she's going to go ahead and have the movers come so that way they can go ahead and take her stuff back to her house. I said, yes, I think we might finally get this breakup that I've been wanting. Y'all, I promise you, I think that a breakup between these two will serve for a better storyline. Now, here's the thing though. Fatima's like, dude, you didn't even apologize. And I agree. He does owe her an apology because he acted up at her job. Okay? He definitely acted up at her job unnecessarily. He did not believe her. Like, they never even talked this whole situation out. And then on top of that, you have him yelling at her, talking about you just had some guy pull up to my house and drop you off. First of all, you acted as if she was riding in the passenger side. Baby girl climbed out the back, okay? So, oh boy could have very well been an Uber driver. She could have absolutely taken an Uber home because she had already had too much liquor and she wasn't going to be out here drunk driving, which is basically what happened if we want to be honest. Also, the fact that he randomly has these photos of her in the club, what's annoying to me is that who is sending Deja photos? Like, I don't know what is happening in Tyler Perry's mind that we just have random people taking photos of random other people. Because let's circle back to sisters. Yes, we're going to do this. Why was it that someone at the shop took a photo of Karen and Zach and then sent it to Angela to then send it, to figure out if that was Fatima's man? How did that make sense? And then we now have another situation where a random person sees Fatima, who is another random person who's just living in Atlanta, snaps her photo, sends it to Deja to say, hey girl, ain't this your neighbor's girlfriend? Do y'all hear how crazy that sounds? Because this is not like people who are famous. Like, there's no one famous on the cast. Like, no one's written as a celebrity. So why would people be taking these random photos of these random people? But you know what? Let's just continue with the argument. All right, y'all. This is where I got confused because now how do we get here? Because we go on to have this argument about how the D gets hard for Deja and how if he would have messed around with her, it wouldn't have been hard anymore. And how he has wanted to sleep with Fatima, but Fatima don't want it. And blah, blah, blah. Listen, I feel like we have so many bigger fish to fry. That right there is not the argument that we should be having at this moment. And I'm mad that this is the direction that we decided to go. Like, I feel like this has been a pileup of day-to-day activity that has been happening with Zatima. And now things are just hitting the fan. Ain't nobody worried about Zach not getting none. That's not even a factor. But what is a factor is how he has absolutely changed since he has seen his mother. She didn't lie about that. You have changed. Now, Zach has always been a hothead, but his temperature has been raised to well over 125 degrees. Because, like, the way he acted with Bryce, out of line, out of control. The way he acted with Paul, out of line, out of control. And now we're doing it here with Fatima. It's not making sense. So now we get into the argument of Fatima saying that she's going to leave. She's not staying there. She's going to, go back to her parents' house. Like, the argument just went so far left. And she does end up leaving. Y'all, why she end up going to Angela's house? I said, girl, no. Go back to your apartment that you said you still have. It's so funny to me. She swears that she still has this apartment, but she refuses to go there. Maybe she subletted it. I don't know. But next thing you know, she ends up going to Angela's house. She's screwing the guy Sean that she just met. And yeah, that was that scene. We're going to move right along. Now, y'all, let's talk about randomness, and that's this random ass scene that we have between Tony and Nate. So we learn that Nate is sleeping on the couch at Tony's house because his wife done put him out. He is realizing that he doesn't want to get a divorce because he doesn't want to pay child support. Yeah, that was that. I don't feel bad for Nate, and I don't really care about Tony. Now, here we go to Tyler and his shenanigans. This man has come across some type of profile, some type of dating profile that Fatima supposedly has set up, and how it's saying that she's on a specific street. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't use dating apps, but I'm just curious. What dating app is that where it tells you exactly where someone's location is? That's creepy. That's weird. Why would anyone be able to find your exact location on a dating app? That's an invasion of privacy. But let's just go ahead and rock with the storyline. So these two are like, nah, she was Zach, she's with Zach. And Nate's like, well, this is what it's saying. So now Nate has the bright idea of let's go ahead and tell Zach about it. He calls Zach. Zach don't really want to talk to him. But he's like, yo, check your phone because I sent you something. So now Zach, he's going to look at this profile. And he's going to feel some type of way when it comes to Fatima still having dating apps on her phone. Just great. So now we hop on over to Fatima. Of course, she's at Angela's house. Angela, she is over here coming downstairs. She's happy because she done got some. And according to her, she wore this man out. Now, he's still laid up in her bed. And they have this conversation about, why Fatima was even there. Fatima tells her, I don't want to tell you exactly what went down, but I'll tell you later. So Fatima is like, well, the guy Paul actually gave me the number to a therapist, and he's a really great therapist. He's works with vets. He's worked with ex-cons, black men, all this stuff. But of course, Angela's like, I don't know about that because you already know if Zach find out that it came from Paul, then he's going to have an issue with it. I'm just like, I don't think Zach would even go to therapy because he's such a hothead. Like, more so that than just because it came from his guy. I'm like, can we even get Zach in the door of a therapist? But nonetheless, here we go asking Angela, has she talked to Bryce? She says no, and she wants Fatima to do it for her. I'm like, Angela, how old are you, girl? You can definitely talk to Bryce about how you don't want to be with him because he clearly is more so interested in men than he is interested in you. So what happens? Sean comes down the stairs. He's exiting. He's leaving. And Bryce is at the door. Now, my question is, does Angela live around the corner from Zach? Because it's interesting that Zach came over. I'm sorry, not Zach. Fatima came over in the middle of the night to come to Angela's house, right? So I'm just like, did you walk over here? Because your car is still at the club. Same with Angela's car. Both of y'all cars should still be at the club. So if anything, you probably should have kept Sean there so he could give y'all a ride to Club Eden. So that way y'all can pick y'all cars up and then go to work. Oh, no, we didn't think that through? Maybe everybody gonna take Uber this morning. I don't know. But let's talk about this conversation between Angela and Bryce. First things first. She's saying that she's not avoiding him. We know that she is. When she says, how about you tell me what's going on? He says, oh, I don't know what's going on. Sir, you do. We've already established that you know that she knows that you tried to hit Zach. So we would have been on a better footing if you would have came into the situation and said, you know what, Angela, there's something that I need to tell you. I'm pretty sure you might have gotten wind of it coming from Fatima, but this is what actually happened between me and Zach. Nope, that's not what we got. So now we have Angela suggesting that they have a sit-down dinner with Zach and Fatima as well. And it's crazy because this man actually said, okay, that's fine. I said, Bryce, you should be concerned because the way Zach has almost mollywopped you on multiple occasions at this point, I don't think you really want to have a meeting with Zach. So then he decides that he's going to try to question her about who was that guy that was just at the house, aka Sean. And she's like, you know what? You don't get to question me about that. Oh, baby, he got big mad, okay? He's like, oh, that's where we at with it? She's like, yeah, that's where we at. So he decides to storm out, baby. And I mean storm and stomp his little feet on out and slams the door. I'm like, Bryce, cut it out. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who really kind of messed things up because you decided to try to kiss Zach, even though you have Angela who's supposed to be your woman. Like, there's no way getting around that, sir. All right, y'all, let's slide on over to Fatima. So she ends up calling the therapist, right? Calls this man, asks him if he has any availability. He said, yeah, I got availability today. Now, here's my thing. How in the world does the secretary have her number? Actually, let me go ahead and backtrack. How is it that Fatima has called this man and he's like, oh yeah, Paul already told me that you will be calling? I said, Fatima, why didn't you even give this man your last name? Because usually when you call somebody and it's a new company or it's someone new to you or whatever, you usually say, hi, my name is so-and-so with your last name. You usually say your first and last name, especially when you're trying to schedule something like this. But nonetheless, what got me was when the guy was like, oh, just go ahead and set it up with my secretary. Do you have my secretary's number? Fatima said, yeah. He said, okay, and she has your number as well. I said, how? This is her first time calling you. What do you mean she has her number? I'm confused. Nonetheless, now we have her making a phone call to her homegirl, Angela, to see what went down with Bryce. Now, Angela, she's like, can you just go ahead and invite me and Bryce over so that we can all have a conversation? Fatima doesn't really want to do this because, as you already know, her and Zach have been getting into it. And I'm just confused because I could have sworn that this conversation was supposed to happen like a while ago. Like, I could have swore we already had this conversation of these four people getting together for dinner. Or am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping. I don't think I am, but I feel like that has already been a discussion. So that way they all can have a conversation. So Angela basically feels that she needs to be supported by Fatima because she does not know how she will react when Bryce actually says what truly happened or whatever. Okay, understandable. Now, when it comes to Fatima, though, she has to tell Angela about how, she has to cancel these plans of going to her mom's house today because Zach and her, they've been getting into it, and she's just going to go ahead and cancel it. Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like Tyler, he doesn't know what to write anymore because we just jumped from what Angela has going on down to Fatima and how she's canceled these plans, right? For her friend Angela to be like, oh, well, you should just go even if it's just by yourself or whatever. Okay, fine. Next thing you know, her response was, and I called the therapist. I'm like, what? I guess what I'm saying is this conversation does not have a good flow to it, and it's annoying me. Nonetheless, it doesn't make sense for Fatima to go ahead and go to this dinner by herself because the whole point was so the mom can ask Zach some questions, to be honest. Then for her to be like, oh, well, I went ahead and I called the therapist. It's like you don't even have Zach on board for therapy. Last time I checked, you said that this therapist, he specialized in black men. You're a black woman. So is the therapy session for you or is it for Zach? Because if it's for Zach and y'all not even talking right now, why are you trying to make an appointment for today? But you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and let this scene be this scene. Y'all, next thing you know, you hear all this wailing in the background, right? So Fatima gets off the phone. She runs up the stairs. And what does she do? She finds Zach with the side chick. I said, you know what? Just throw this whole episode away as well. Like, I don't know what happened with Zatima. The first season was so much better than this season. I have to say it. I feel like the pace of the first season was better because it wasn't as slow as this. And then on top of it, the storylines were better. As of right now, I don't know. I don't know what can be done to salvage Zatima, and even the entire, franchise of sisters as well. Because, again, Tyler has continued to run these characters into the ground, and I don't even know how we can redeem them. So, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will be back for more reviews, but we shall see. I will talk to you guys next time, and bye, guys.